Hi, hello. It is officially summer, and I'm out of school, so I am trying to read as much as I possibly can with the 3 months, 2 months, 3 months since May, but like 2 months now. Before I'm stuck in school again. So I currently have about 15 books on my TBR. Not all of them. Some of them are from the library. One's a whole series. Some I just don't have, either from the library or in real or physically. So we're gonna see if I can do it. So yeah. Also, the baked good for this episode is something I made for dinner tonight. It was a cheesy garlic sourdough. So we're gonna taste it and we're gonna see how it is. It was very yummy. 10 out of 10. I recently just started a sourdough starter. So this was the second one I've ever made. The first one was pretty good too. This one I think was just better because there's garlic in there, but yes, very yummy. So we're gonna get started. The other book I'm reading right now is A Tangled Magic by Andrea Eames. And I got this as an ARC from a Goodreads giveaway, and I'm about 100 pages in, and it seems to be sort of a Rapunzel like retelling, I guess that's how I would put it. But it's not really it's not really in comparison to like the Rapunzel I know, the Disney Rapunzel. It's way different than that. It's a lot more darker. So obviously, because she has magical hair, she has a pet, and she was in a tower for like most of her life. So it definitely seems to be less romance focused and more like political intrigue or like world building sort of focused. So like I said, I'm about 100 pages in. I'm getting to like where her journey starts, and I feel like my only problem right now is that it feels very YA, but I don't think it's YA because she's like 20, and like they do mention like darker things that YA wouldn't typically mention, but it just feels a little juvenile. But I'm enjoying it. I'm not gonna give it up just yet. But yeah. So the first book I'm reading is A Witch's Guide to Magical Innkeeping by Sangu Mandana. I started reading it in like February, and then I kind of just dropped it because I got really busy with school and everything. But I did restart it recently in audiobook form, which I think I'm enjoying better now since I was reading it reading it on my iPad earlier. So I think I'm about 60% of the way through now, and it's essentially this, it's a rom-com, it's like a romantasy, like not like the romantasy people would think, but it's like, it's a romance with very fantasy elements, because, witches and magical things, but it's like definitely rom-com fantasy. It's a weird mix of the two, and so I finally got to the part where the couple has met, and essentially our main character Sarah is a witch. Obviously, she runs a like a bed and breakfast sort of thing, and she lost her powers when she was younger because she did a resurrection spell on her great aunt, I think, I don't remember. And, she got in trouble because that's a forbidden spell, and she lost all her magic. And, she's forbidden from, being a part of, like, the magical guild of, of this world. And so she's been trying to get her magic back for a while. And lo and behold, comes this man, Luke, who she's known since she was younger, but they were never really friends, and he's able to sort of help her with the spell to get her magic back, and she sort of helps him in return in ways that are, she didn't think that she was helping her way. I think it's really good right now. I'm enjoying it a lot more than I thought. I think the beginning was just maybe a little slow for me. And I just wasn't really like getting anywhere, but it's picked up now. There's definitely more romance. It's really good. It's a slow burn, so if you're not really into those, I wouldn't recommend it. But yeah, no, it's going really well. The next two books on my TBR, I'm gluing them together since it's like a duology technically, or like a series of some sort, is Bride and Mate by Ali Hazelwood. Bride and Mate. I got Mate from the library. I went to the library and I picked up Mate, and then I looked at the back and it was like, oh, this is a series. And I'm like, oh. But thankfully, I had Bride, and it's been sitting on my shelf for quite some time, so I finally have, like, a reason to read it now. I've only read one Ali Hazel book. I think I have, like, another one, though, so this is technically my second, but I have some other ones. So I was a huge Wattpad girly, so hopefully I'll enjoy these, as, you know, I've dabbled in fanfiction for quite a while, so yeah. The next book I picked up was a book I've read before, but it just spoke to me when I was at the library, and I wanted to give it a reread, because I remember enjoying it, but, it is She is Haunting by, Trong Tan Tran, and so I originally actually got this as, like, my library did, like, a blind date with a book, and I ended up getting it from that, and I enjoyed it, but I want to give it another, like I said, I want to give it another read. This is a YA lesbian, like, sort of botanical horror, that takes place in Vietnam, where we follow our protagonist, Jade, who's visiting her, estranged father so that she can get the college money that she was promised. And while she's there, she's being forced to help clean up a French colonial home that's eventually to be a bed and breakfast for tourists, mostly white people. But, you know, weird, gross things start to happen that sort of drive her crazy. And yeah, I remember being really weirded out by this book. I don't remember the exact details because I was, like, in high school when I read this. So I'm actually, like, I've thought about rereading it for quite some time. But, you know, I'd be like, oh, you know, like, I didn't, you know, especially getting it from the library, and I didn't want to, you know, waste my time or, you know, not be able to read it and then have to, like, give it back too soon. So I'm super excited. Yeah. The next book I got was also a advanced reader's copy from a Goodreads giveaway, and that is The Museum of Modern Love by Mariko Turk. This is, I believe, a YA rom-com about a girl, Mickey, who wants to confess her love to her best friend, Auden, by getting him trapped in the Metropolitan Museum of Art. And just like how her grandparents got together when they were younger, her plan goes awry, it does not work, and she gets stuck with her ex Lou, and they seem that they did not end on the best terms. So I thought it was really cute, and then until it mentioned that she got stuck with her ex, and now I'm worried this is gonna be some weird love triangle premise, which I have mixed feelings on love triangles. But I am a sucker for, like, best friends to lovers. I will keep an open mind. But I am a little nervous that it won't go well. The next book I got from the library is The Spell Shop by Sarah Beth Durst, which I heard is, like, a cozy-ish romantasy. I'm not really sure. About our main character, Kayla, I don't know how to pronounce it, who's a librarian from, like, a prestigious, you know, like, library, but it burns down from what the synopsis says, and I think it burns down from, like, when a revolution begins or something, and so she flees with everything that she can carry, and then goes to an island, which also happens to be her childhood home, and then she continues what she's doing, like, with her research, whatever she's doing as a librarian, and she opens up a jam shop. Since that's, like, the one thing that the island doesn't have. Or she, of course, is selling jam, but she's offering her, like, magical services black market style. So it sounds cute, but I feel like my one worry with, like, these, like, cozy-ish romantasies is that, like, they're gonna be boring. And just, like, not, like, have anything a part of it. So we'll see. So I kind of hope that, you know, like, this whole, like, political revolution in the backdrop does add some, like, intrigue and, like, you know, like, a driving force for the book to be interesting outside of the romance. So we'll see. The next book I picked up, which is similar to, oh my god, what's it called? Similar to one of the books, where I picked it up and started reading it, and then just kind of fell out of it is Jade City by Fonda Lee. In fact, I really want to, technically the whole series, the Greenbone saga is like on my TBR, since I'm, as I mentioned, a completionist, and we'll need to finish the series or it might never happen. But yeah, I picked this up last summer and I just, like I said, never finished it despite really enjoying it. It's a hefty book, as you can see. She's thick. And I think I just really struggled getting myself into it because it's like one of those books where it takes a little bit, and then it's a little slow at the beginning, and then like you gotta you gotta actually put effort into reading it. It's not just something you can pick up and put down. And outside of that, it's been on my radar for quite some time since one of my favorite booktubers, it's like one of her favorite series. So, and she just spoke so highly about it that like I feel like I have to read it, or like I might be missing out on something. Anyways, so it is a trilogy set in like a fantasy Hong Kong, following a family of they said like in the term, I think it's like yeah, gangsters. It says it on the back. Like best classic Hong Kong gangster films. Like that's like kind of like the vibe it's going from. Following a family called the Calls, and it's 4 siblings, and there's a lot of political intrigue, robberies, and action scenes. And I remember really enjoying those from when I was reading it. I think I got maybe like 100-ish pages in. I don't exactly remember. But yeah, I'm ready to dive back into it. So yeah. The next book, which I do not have physically nor from the library yet, is Yesteryear by Caro Claire Burke, and it is obviously one of the most popular books out right now, and it's obviously super popular. It's about a modern-day tradwife who is transported back into, I believe, 1855, where she's an actual, mother and wife during this time, is, shocked how awful it is, and how it is not what she's, what life she is leading. I'm super excited. I was super excited to read this when I first saw it, because I'm just like, with the whole tradwife like phenomenon that's going on, I felt like I just had to give it a read. And essentially, how tradwifery is like sort of like red pill content, but for women. I think honestly my biggest fear with reading it is that it's gonna disappoint me, and that it's not gonna live up to the expectations I have, because I feel like with writing about something that's so prevalent in our our social media world right now, is that it's just like you have to make it great. So that's my worry. Also, I might have to cave and buy it. I've been trying not to buy as many books recently because books are expensive. But the wait at like my library is 3,000 people and like a multiple month wait, so I don't think I will be getting it anytime soon. But I really do want to read it, so wish me luck. The next book on my list is, I believe I have this like on Libby right now, or I will be, because it's not there's no line for it, is Open Wide by Jessica Gross. Another book I got recommended to me by another book YouTuber I really like, so fingers crossed. I've actually never taken any recommendations from this booktuber, so we'll see. But it is like one of those like weird girl literature books, and I've been really wanting to dip my toes into those. So we'll see. I have looked at the reviews, and people were disgusted, which is either a good or bad thing. I don't know where I'm gonna land on how much I'll like it. But it is about this woman Olive and her obsessiveness over this man Theo, who she meets while volunteering at a food pantry. And it goes weird, really weird and crazy. So I'm excited. But I know this book focuses a lot on like abuse and her being treated inappropriately by her mother. So we'll see where it goes. I hope it's not like diabolical and the weird gross stuff happens for a reason. I don't want it to be like all shock value things. So we'll see. The next book I have on my list is one I actually just got from the Book of the Month Club. It is Shark Heart by Emily Habik. I don't know how to pronounce it. And it follows this recently married couple, Ren and Lewis, and they just received bad news that Lewis, I think over the span of either 9 months to a year, is essentially going to turn into a great white shark. And really interesting, because I know that's obviously an allegory for, you know, terminal illnesses. So I think that's a really interesting way to, you know, put it. And it explores grief and what it's like to lose someone you love right in front of your eyes when there's like essentially nothing you can do about it. Again, I got this recommendation from one of my favorite booktubers, so it's been on my TBR for quite a while. And like I said, I just got it a month ago, so I finally, you know, get a chance to read it. I think my hope is that I cry from this book, and if I don't cry, I will be very disappointed. It looks like a very emotional book, and it has like this really interesting it has like, you know, different sort of like chapters like writing styles, so it's not like just your normal prose. So yeah. The next book I have on my TBR list is If Cats Disappeared from the World by Genki Kawamura, which follows a young lonely postman who only has his cat Cabbage, very cute name, I do love that, to keep him in company. He is then diagnosed with a terminal illness, you know, and he only has a few months left to live, so he's, you know, coming to terms with that. But then the devil shows up, and in exchange for making one thing disappear in the world, he gets to live one extra day. So as, you know, things begin to disappear, as, you know, like he selects things to disappear, he has to, you know, it leads him through like an emotional journey about, I think, existentialism and like what it matters, and like what really matters most in life. And if, you know, you don't have these things, like, is life really worth living then? It's sort of similar to Shark Heart. I mean, in the sense of like, it's really emotional, so I hope it makes me cry again. Especially, I have two cats. One's sitting on my desk right now, and one I have to kick out because she likes to bite me when I don't give her attention. So fingers crossed that this ends up being good. So yeah. The last book I have on my TBR list, which I've had for a decent bit too, that I've been wanting to read, is Our Infinite Fates by Laura Stephen. I think it's a YA romantasy about two souls who are both fated to fall in love with each other and kill each other in every single life that they live, where they end up meeting. But the current problem is Evelyn, which is like one of our main characters, one of the souls, really likes her current life that she's living, and she has a little sister that she wants to stay alive, that she like needs to stay alive to be able to take care of her. So this leads her, I think, and the other like soul. I haven't read any reviews about this. But it leads them on a journey to figure out, you know, why this curse is happening and how to break it, while not trying to fall in love with each other. I thought both the premise and the cover. Obviously, this is a gorgeous cover. I love, like, you know, however you feel about, like, you know, sprayed edges. I think the gold is just gorgeous, and just the cover, gorgeous. It's so beautiful. So I hope, you know, again, I hope it doesn't disappoint me. I mean, I hope none of these books disappoint me, because, you know, I'm gonna spend all my time reading them, and then if I'm just sad, it's not what I want. And this is a romantasy, and so I'm a little nervous about that, just because of, you know, there's a whole epidemic with romantasies. Might upset some people, with romantasies being really similar to each other or just lacking a lot of depth. So I think that's honestly what I'm most scared about with this, but I'm very willing to give it a try, especially just with how, again, the cover is so pretty. So yeah. Those are the books I currently have. Obviously, everything is up to debate on what I read and what I don't read. I didn't realize this. I just took off the dust cover. Oh, I love a good looking book. I feel like having a pretty book just makes it better. But yeah, so we will see how much I get through in this next 2 months until I have to go back to school. I would love to get through all of them. I know my library books are due sooner than I planned, so hopefully I can just recheck them out and keep reading them. But yeah. Thank you for tuning in. Hopefully this maybe has inspired your next book, or not inspired it, being like, I don't want to read that. So, yeah. If you had a good time, please like and subscribe.